My Wedding Night. Chapter 1. The Day I Had Dreamed of. The sun rose slowly on that morning, golden light filtering through my window and painting the walls with warmth. It was the day I had dreamed of for years, my wedding day. For months, my family had been planning every detail, and now it was finally here. I could hear the soft chatter of my relatives in the living room. The sound of laughter, the clinking of teacups, and the occasional burst of music from someone testing the speakers for the evening party. I sat at my dressing table, my reflection looking back at me. My heart was beating fast, not with fear, but with a strange mixture of excitement, nervousness, and love. I was about to marry Arjun, the man who had entered my life unexpectedly, but had stayed like a promise I never wanted to break. When I first met him 2 years ago, he wasn't someone I thought I would fall in love with. He was quiet, serious, always carrying himself with dignity, while I was full of laughter, clumsy at times, and endlessly talkative. But as time passed, I began to notice how his silence wasn't emptiness. It was full of thought, care, and a depth I couldn't ignore. And now, today, I was about to become his wife. Chapter 2. Walking Toward Forever. The wedding ceremony was like something out of a dream. Flowers hung in garlands all around the mandap, their fragrance mixing with the soft smell of incense. My hands, decorated with mehndi, trembled slightly as I held my bouquet. The music began, and with every step I took toward him, I felt the weight of the moment sink deeper into my heart. Arjun stood waiting, dressed in a sherwani of ivory and gold, his smile small but steady, his eyes locked only on me. In that crowd of hundreds of people, it felt like there was only the two of us. The rituals happened one by one, the sacred fire, the vows, the exchange of garlands. I remember his hand brushing mine when he tied the Mangal Sutra around my neck, and the way my cheeks flushed when the vermilion touched my hairline. Everyone clapped, showering us with petals, but in that moment, I didn't hear anyone. All I heard was his whisper, "From today, you're my everything." Chapter 3. A Room Meant for Two. By the time the last guest left, it was close to midnight. I was exhausted, but a different kind of energy filled me as I walked into the room prepared for us. The bed was covered in white sheets, decorated with rose petals arranged in delicate patterns. The faint glow of candles cast a warm light across the room. My heart was racing again. This wasn't just a night. It was the beginning of forever. I sat nervously on the edge of the bed, my bridal jewelry still clinking softly. My bangles felt heavy, and my veil slid slightly across my shoulder. Then, the door creaked open, and Arjun entered. He closed it gently behind him, his eyes meeting mine with that same steady look that always made me feel safe. He walked slowly, as if giving me time to breathe, to prepare. When he sat down beside me, neither of us spoke for a moment. The silence wasn't empty, it was heavy with meaning. Finally, he reached out and touched my hand. "You're trembling," he whispered. I laughed softly. Maybe because I've been waiting for this night. Chapter 4. Words without sound. He helped me remove the heavy jewelry piece by piece, his fingers brushing my skin each time. Every touch sent a shiver down my spine, not because of nervousness, but because of the tenderness in it. He wasn't rushing, wasn't demanding anything. He was taking his time, as though each second mattered more than the next. As he lifted the veil from my head, our eyes met fully for the first time that night. His gaze was warm, adoring, and filled with promises that words could never capture. I saw not just my husband, but my best friend, my confidant, my love. "You look beautiful," he said simply. I smiled, my heart overflowing. "And you're mine." Then, for the first time as husband and wife, we kissed. It wasn't hurried or fiery. It was slow, deep, full of unspoken vows. His hands cradled my face gently, and I held on to him as though I had finally reached the home I had been searching for all my life. Chapter 5. The night that belonged only to us. Time seemed to blur after that. We spoke in whispers, laughed softly at silly things, and shared secrets we had never said aloud before. He told me how nervous he had been the first time he thought about proposing to me. I told him how I had cried when my mother first said I was lucky to find a man like him. Every kiss, every touch, every glance became part of a memory I knew I would carry forever. The world outside no longer mattered. There was no noise, no family, no ceremonies, just us. Two souls beginning a journey together. We lay side by side, our hands entwined, hearts beating in rhythm. I rested my head on his chest, listening to the steady sound of his heartbeat. That sound became the most comforting music I had ever heard. At some point in the night, I whispered, "Promise me something." He kissed my forehead. "Anything. Promise me that no matter what life brings, we'll always come back to this moment, to us, to this love." He tightened his hold around me. "I promise." Chapter 6. The morning after. When dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight fell on us. I opened my eyes to find him already awake, watching me with a smile that melted every part of me. "Good morning, wife," he said softly. "Good morning, husband," I replied, blushing. That was it. The beginning of a life I knew would not always be easy, but one that would always be worth it. Our wedding night wasn't just about romance. It was about two hearts choosing each other, not just for one night, but for all nights to come. Epilogue. Even years later, whenever I think back to that night, I don't just remember the rose petals, the candles, or the kisses. I remember the way he looked at me, as if I was his whole world. And I remember the feeling of knowing with absolute certainty that I was, because love isn't about one night. It's about every night that follows. But for us, it all began with that one, our wedding night.